A massive explosion shakes the Lebanese capital. There are scenes of extensive damage for a radius of several hundred meters, possibly much further, across Beirut. Welcome back to the France 24 newsroom in Paris. I'm Tom Burgess-Wilson. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We're going to take you straight to the Lebanese capital, where there's been at least one massive explosion during the course of the last hour and 20 minutes or so. These pictures coming into us show a scene of total chaos, with debris littered across major highways and extensive damage to buildings, cars turned upside down. Several hundred meters away from where that explosion happened. Balconies have been torn off buildings. And the Lebanese Health Ministry and the minister himself, Hamad Hassan, said that a very high number of injuries have been caused by that, and that there has been extensive damage. Well, we can see the extensive damage. We don't know at this stage how many people are injured or indeed if any people have been killed, but we can only assume the worst given the pictures that we're looking at. A huge plume of thick smoke is hanging above the center of Beirut. It can be seen far into the distance. And according to reports, the blast occurred in Beirut port. And some local television stations are reporting that this happened in an area where fireworks were stored, although we've spoken to people who have difficulty believing that an explosion on that scale could have been just the result of firecrackers stored in a container in the ship, although in a shipping container, although I think it's also fair to assume that a port would also be home to a fuel depot, and therein could lie a further explanation as to the severity of that blast. Well, according to witnesses on social media, it was felt several kilometers away from the center of Beirut. One person writing to me now saying it was felt in Cyprus, which is at least a few hundred kilometers away from Beirut. Well, it's not clear, as I said, what the extent of the damage has been and how many casualties there are. But what we do know is that Lebanon is in the grip of massive political and economic uncertainty. And there have been heightened tensions across the border with Israel only in the last few hours, issuing a warning to militants operating outside of Israel's borders in response to attempted infiltration by militants. That warning directed squarely at the Shia militant group Hezbollah, but we have nothing at this stage to connect these events in Beirut to anything beyond what we're hearing, which is an explosion in the port area of downtown Beirut, and some witnesses saying the blast felt stronger than that of 2005, which killed the then Prime Minister Rafik Hariri. 15 years on, Lebanon once again shaken by a massive explosion. Here it is, the center of Beirut, which has been struck by that blast in the port area. And as you can see, people walking around looking stunned. The area has been very severely damaged all around the port area and much further beyond. France 24's correspondent in Beirut, her apartment has been very severely damaged. And she told us just a short while ago that a low-flying jet preceded that explosion. So again, we cannot confirm that there is anything to connect a low-flying jet and an explosion in the port area.